Hi, I'm Ann Weiser Cornell, and this is a webinar that's meant to support us, you and me both. I get a lot out of being on here and talking to you. So I want to talk to you today about two things. One is resources. How do we build our resources? You know, I love that word resilience. To me, that speaks about the ability to take a hit and come up again, right? Resilience. And it seems like a lot of us are taking a hit one way or another, financially, in terms of anxiety and stress about uncertainty, and in terms of health concerns. So these calls, these webinars are about building resilience, and let's talk about that a bit today. Resources. I also want to talk about the mystery that when you let go of assumptions and expectations, it's possible that something you're feeling that seems negative can give you a gift. I have a story about that I would love to share with you and also take you through a little process. Maybe you'll find a gift in something that seems negative. Wow. Let's talk about resources and give you a little exercise that includes resources. So our resources, we can resource ourselves. This is a concept from the untangling method, developed by Barbara McGavin and myself. And one of the concepts is that you can be always, if you want to, identified with a larger self. Your larger self we call self in presence. And that one way to do that is to pay attention to resourcing yourself. Well, so what resources you? Taking a walk. Maybe most of us still live in an area where it's okay to take a walk as long as you stay far enough away from other people. Or yoga, movement, dance could be resourcing for you. Giving yourself some kind of self-care or pleasure. A hot bath. These are resourcing. Having a contact with someone you love. Nowadays, unless you live with that person, that contact might be by FaceTime or Zoom or Skype, but still, it's resourcing when you share a time of contact. I'm hoping this webinar is resourcing for you. And let's pause a moment and notice for each of you, what did you do in the last 24 hours, right? The last day, what did you do that was resourcing for you? And you can write in the chat if you want to. I watched a movie with my sweetie and enjoyed that company and contact. Yeah, okay. Qigong, sewing, went for a walk in the woods, reading from the chat here. Yeah, took a walk with the doggy, meditation, nice. Yeah, spent time with my feelings. Yoga, wow. Oh, a backgammon marathon, that kind. Oh, called an aunt I'd lost contact with for 6 years. What a good idea. Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much for writing in the chat. And by the way, if you choose all panelists and attendees when you write in the chat, then everyone can see what you wrote. Now, let's do another little exercise right now, okay? You remembered something that resourced you in the last 24 hours, okay? Let's do another little exercise with that. So bringing awareness to your body, feeling your body in contact with what you're sitting on, And if you're standing, feeling your feet. If you're lying down, yeah, there's a lot more body contact to feel. And letting yourself rest into the support that's here right now. And feeling your breathing. Now that also is resourcing, right? Right. Pausing, feeling your body, contacting what you're sitting on, and feeling your breathing. Okay, we're doing that right now. Very good. That's it. Now, remember the resourcing activity that you did. Walking by the river or making stew, all the things that people have been writing. Remember that, okay? Remember that. And in your body right now, let the memory of the resourcing activity bring a fresh body feeling. It doesn't have to be that you feel the same way now as you felt then when you did it, because we're always about this moment right now. So no, not trying to recover the way you felt when you talked to your aunt, but instead, what I'm inviting you to do is feel it, remember it, and get the feeling that remembering it brings right now. And notice how that feels in your body. Okay, and now, well, let me give you just a little longer to do that, because it doesn't happen instantly for everyone. So you're in your body, you're remembering the resourcing activity, and you're inviting the body feel that comes right now from remembering it. Okay, now there's a next step, and that is, as you feel resourced, okay, this is I am. I get to own and inhabit my resourced body, feeling peaceful, relaxed, even if that's not the only way you're feeling, okay? Now, you make an invitation. If there's something somewhere in you that needs some kindness, some compassion, some gentleness, would it be a tension somewhere? An anxious feeling, a sad feeling? Pausing to notice if somewhere in you there's a place, a something, a body feeling, an emotion that needs resources, that needs your attention, your caring, your compassion. If you feel it, you could let a gentle hand go there. And you can say to it, yes, I know you're there. Yes, I'm with you. Yeah. This has been such a lifesaver for me over the kind of roller coaster feelings of the last month or so. Periodically, my body signals to me that I've got a something in me that's tense or scared or anxious. And I pause. Sometimes I forget for a while to pause, but then eventually I remember, and then I say, hello, I know you're there. Hello, I know you're there. I can use my hand to give company to the place that needs my attention. And I say hello. That alone is amazing. And then we're going to take another step. It's so much fun to see everybody here writing in the chat. So good. And Amanda, gee, it's so nice to see you here. Wow. And Christiana's here. I can't name everybody because there's 109 people here, but oh, John, it's lovely that you're here. Lily is here. Wow, Margot. Anyway, yeah. Super. So nice. Resources. Did anybody want to say something in the chat about what you discovered about resources? And bringing your resourced whole self to a place in you that needs some company and attention. Yeah? That was pretty cool. I really want you to have that so you can do that kind of compassion. Oh, okay. Micheline writes, I felt calmness. Nice. So sweet. Mary writes, beginning to feel refreshed already. Whew. Yeah. 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 Thank you, Lily. Calm and warm. Wow. Wow. So nice. You know, I wanted to talk, oh, yeah. Warmth and remembering the good and bringing it to the part of me that's grieving. Yeah. I wanted to talk about how valuable it is to let go of all expectations. So in the moment, in the present moment, you bring awareness to how you're feeling. And what you're feeling in this moment, right now, is never too much, because the brilliance of your body only allows as much as you can handle. And here's how that works. So you're sensing how you are right now. You're sensing how something in you feels maybe uncomfortable or extremely anxious or in quite a lot of suffering. And I know there is that much suffering out there. A woman just wrote me a few minutes ago about how her husband is in a high-risk occupation that he has to stay in, and she's anxious all the time. But the anxious that's here right now is not too much. So by coming into your body, feeling your resources, and then sensing exactly how it is right now, you actually get a sense of relief. And then maybe something amazing can happen. So this was a story that was told to me by Jen Edwards in Australia. She was doing what I'm telling you about. She was bringing awareness to an anxious place in her body. And what I'd recommend is that you sense where it is in your body. You sense the word that describes it. And it was anxious. And the next step would be to say to it, I sense how anxious you are. So fill in the word, like if it's anxious, scared, worried, sad, tense, fragile, filled with dread, whatever it is, say to it, I sense how you are. You say to it, I sense how you are. Now this is very powerful, partly because you're unmerging, you're disidentifying. If it feels this way, then you can give it company. You can be the one who acknowledges to it. You say to it. That by it, I mean the something, the place in your body, the part of you that's feeling so anxious and so on. You say to it, I sense how you are. And we're saying it with a note of kindness in our voice, like you would say it to a child or a dog or a cat. I sense how you are, sweetie. Yeah. So Jen did this with her anxious feeling. She said to it, I sense how anxious you are. And then she said, and no wonder, right? So that's a very nice thing to say to your anxious feelings. They make so much sense, don't they? So you can say inside, no wonder. Do you want to try that right now? No wonder. Okay. So then what happened to Jen was that she stayed with the feeling. She stayed in her body. Now that's kind of an amazing skill, because so often, and I know this was true of me, we feel something and then we sort of bounce away. Like, I got to get away from this feeling. Let me distract myself. Resourcing is not the same as distracting yourself. So it's a skill to learn, and the more you do it, the more good stuff it gives you, to stay with what you're feeling. Just let go of assumptions and expectations. And that's what she did. And what began to happen was that she began to feel a very subtle sense of excitement. Very subtle sense of excitement. Wow. So, and that's the thing. When you're immersed in a strong feeling, it's hard to feel subtle feelings. But by being disidentified, by saying to the feeling, I'm here with you, I know you're there, I sense how you are, you're increasing your ability to feel subtle feelings as well. So she felt a subtle sense of excitement, and she didn't interpret that or jump to conclusions. She just stayed with it. And for her, at that moment, it became a blossoming of a sense of confidence. Confidence that she would be able to handle whatever life throws at her. Now, wouldn't that be great, to feel an embodied sense of confidence that you can handle whatever life throws at you? But we cannot make ourselves feel that way. No matter how hard you try to feel confidence, I should feel confidence, I can handle this, come on, you can handle it. It just doesn't work. Wow. And so what works is to stay with how we actually feel. Following, trusting the process, that it takes us somewhere, that life has a forward direction. And when we stay with how we feel and allow it to be the way it is, it takes its next steps. So nice. So nice. So how's that going for you? Any reactions you have to what I've been saying? First, we talked about resourcing. I showed you that one way to resource is to feel your body contact right now on what you're sitting on. And another way to resource is to remember something you did recently that brought you a greater sense of aliveness or peacefulness. And that remembering that can give you a sense of more resourcefulness in your body. And then we talked about bringing that greater sense of resourcefulness to something that you're feeling that doesn't feel so great, tension, anxiety, sadness, and so on. And bringing, not in order to change it, not in order to say, don't feel so anxious, but just to give a kind of kindness and company, giving company to how you feel. And then we said that what can happen next can completely surprise us. We're open to whatever it might be. We let go of assumptions and expectations that the assumption might be, if it's anxious now, it's going to still be anxious. Oh, there's a little trick, by the way, to help your feelings change more easily. And that is to say, something in me feels right now. When you're acknowledging how you feel, Something in me feels right now. And that way, all we're talking about is right now. We don't know what will happen next. Yay. So a question, if it gets re-triggered and seems to take over the whole body again, do you go back to the resourced feeling and being with it? Yeah. We'll get re-triggered. I know I do. Seems like that's part of being human, and especially in a crisis. So have with you, like a first aid kit, these steps. Feel your body right now, supported, because even if you don't right now remember anything good that's ever happened to you, you can at least feel your feet, feel your buttocks, feel your back, the contact of your body on what you're sitting on. You need to pause in order to do that. So that's right there for you. Feel your breathing. And then try the language of, I'm sensing something in me feels. Even if you don't believe it, right? It might feel like the triggered feeling is all of you. I'm terrified. Okay, it feels like that's all of me. It feels like there's no little corner of me that isn't terrified. But I'm going to say these words anyway. I'm sensing something in me is terrified. I'm sensing a big something in me is terrified. I'm sensing something in me that feels like all of me is terrified. And pause to let the words you just said sink in and have an impact. I'm sensing something in me is terrified, and I'm saying hello to that. And you may need to repeat it half a dozen times. And my experience is it does have an effect after a while. It's just amazing that the language we use can help. Yes, yes. Amy wrote, the resourced feeling initially was calming and brought joy, but then brought up sadness because I guess the resourced activity was with a person who's now gone. And the sadness needs your company too. And so you can say, I am sensing sadness. Now, I do want to mention that if it's grief for a genuine loss that's happening now in your life, we don't have to say something in me is grieving, because surely grief is actually all of you. It's a natural human process, though. Your body knows how to grieve. Just accompany it. And that's important. And so, yeah. Ginger writes, it moved from my chest to the pit of my stomach, and my arms are tingling and heavy. Great. Yeah. Noticing how it is in your body. And Victoria writes, what if it comes back all the time? Well, what are you doing that's more important than being with it all the time? I am sensing something in me that feels like all of me that is terrified or whatever. Yay. Yay. So, Ginger said inside, I'm sensing how overwhelmed you are, no wonder, and stayed with it, and it dissolved and moved. Great, great. Okay, more about grief. Well, I don't think grief is actually an emotion. I think grieving is a process that our bodies know how to do, a natural response to loss. Very different from, let's say, anxiety. Anxiety has to do with thoughts we're having about an imagined possible future. Parts of us say things to us that they are afraid of but they're so afraid that they use language that makes it sound like it's happening right now, and then the body gets anxiety responses, and I really don't think that's necessary. I don't think it helps. Parts of us think they have to make us anxious, so we'll, we can prepare better for emergencies if we are not anxious. So if you're having anxiety, then really resource yourself and turn toward the anxious part and let it know you really get how anxious it is about what, and let it tell you what it's anxious about. Grieving is different from that. Grieving is not about the future. Grieving is something happening right now. And you get to just accompany that and follow its wisdom. So being present for yourself. Now, along with that grieving process, there may be thoughts like, people are going to get bored with how much I blah, 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 how much I cry, or I should be over this already. So those should thoughts are from an anxious part that you get to turn toward and say, hello, can you tell me more about what you're worried about? You can trust the process of grieving. And that could be grief for a person, for one of the powers you may have lost, a home that you had that you don't have anymore. Yeah. So grief over the situations caused by Corona, are those in your own life? And Lily writes, what about grief from the younger ones within me who seem to be triggered by the times we're living in? Okay, so if it's not grief right now, but you can tell that it's a triggered grief from an earlier time in your life. Maybe that in an earlier time in your life, you lost, your parents weren't there for you, someone close to you died many years ago. You have a younger self inside feeling grief about that. You can be with that younger self. You can keep company. Keep company with that. Yes. Wow. Arno writes, my wife's beloved uncle in Madrid died after contracting the coronavirus. I'm so sorry for your loss. And I'm feeling touched by what Arno shared in the chat. I'm imagining what it might be like to lose someone beloved, and my heart is open. So that's not the same as feeling what other people are feeling, but allowing the circumstances that others are in to touch us is one of the things that weaves our human fabric together. So my dears, wow, it's been such a pleasure to be with you today. And you know what? We're going to do this again next week. The time has changed. We're going to do 2 different times now. And it's going to be Thursdays instead of Wednesdays, but I'm going to keep on doing these support seminars as long as they're needed. Thank you for coming. Take care. Bye for now.